Hi, Nevaeh here. I'm doing something a little different today. There was some chat online about a brew or a concoction that you could make that would help with your health. A lot of people say it's about fat loss. I really think it's more about detoxing toxins from your body and healing tissues, which, the side effect of that is usually weight loss or fat loss. I did shuffle the deck already, and I thought of myself and I thought of so many other people that have battled health conditions that they don't have a lot of answers for. And through my path, there has been a lot of diligent health professionals, but they are limited by the system we function in, the finances that are provided to it, the decisions that are made about what's available for testing. A simple example of that would be I have some neck concerns and I was trying to solve them. And I, through my dentist, got referred to a special x ray, which is a CT cone beam scan. And it had only been in Canada for a year at the time. And it wasn't covered. So I had to pay out of pocket for it. But out of that actually came the understanding that I had severe arthritis in my neck. And by accident they caught that, right? Well, a 3D cone beam scan isn't offered to most people. Most people couldn't even put out the money to do that. I had benefits at the time, and the benefits did cover it. I no longer have benefits. I have an autoimmune condition that the doctors don't know. They know the type of it, they know what it is, but there's specific subtypes of it, and there isn't treatment for any of it. Like a lot of conditions, there isn't treatments for. So what you have to do is lifestyle modification and changes. So one of the changes that I had made before, when I was really fit, getting myself back there, back on board with my health, and there was a lot of chat about this, and it does have excellent results. So my brew, I'm going to share that with you. But I did a card shuffling and I got two cards out. And I got the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands upside down. So I'm going to read from this. It's so this emphasizes a distracted nature, starting things without ever finishing them, projects that end up nowhere, wasted time and energy. So, the call here is to refocus, realign, and all should fall into place. So I know that this has happened in my life where I've become distracted, especially if you're struggling with a lot of really hard pieces at the same time. So we might be on this path, but we can move towards a more positive path. And then the second one I pulled up was the Wheel of Fortune upside down. And again, I was like, oh, it's not that positive a card, but it's truth for a lot of us. This is truth for a lot of us, especially, like I said, people experiencing a lot of health condition and issues, and they don't have a lot of help because we have substandard diagnostic testing, and the science doesn't even fully understand protein sensitivities, right? If it's not an allergy, it could be a protein sensitivity. They don't fully understand it. So this Wheel of Fortune upside down really is delays and an unlucky and resistance to change. So I have found in myself, I've been resistant to change. Sometimes my thought patterns are my habits. And here I can see it says that life continuously changes. This card is an omen that one is entering a new phase or cycle in their life. Upside down, you're fighting against forces at hand and perhaps dealt with misfortune. And I can attest for both of those in my life. Unlucky, I can attest for that too. I've also had a lot of super luck though. But remember, the wheel is always turning. And I love that part. At times bringing us to the bottom, but always come back up and be patient. So I know this is a little bit longer of one, but I wanted to share this brew that I do because I feel like it makes a huge difference in my life. If I'm watching whatever else I eat and I consume this daily once or twice, it accelerates positive feelings, reduces the inflammation in my body, which is really where I'm at to manage myself. I have to reduce inflammation, and there's no magic cure. There's no magic pill. For a lot of us, there isn't. It's really exercise, eating right, positive thinking, and meditation, which I haven't been strong with lately that I'm going to get back into. But here is the brew to bring us back around in the wheel. So I always use a large pot and put as much water in as I can. I would fill it up, but first I put in, and I buy coriander seed in bulk, which is fairly cheap. It's not overly expensive. So this is coriander seed. I might put in about half a cup of that. And you can use whole cloves. Sometimes I use powdered cloves if that's all I have. Whole cloves and whole cinnamon, it's not going to be as grainy and as sediment-like, and it's easier to filter it. So definitely about a quarter cup of cloves. And then I buy the cinnamon like this, right, in the sticks. Again, you could use powdered cinnamon, but there's more filtering with it. These are fairly cheap, much cheaper than the ground cinnamon, and often more available. I've had a hard time finding cinnamon lately. And a few other things. Maybe that's for another video. I don't put this in, but when I was preparing for the video, I thought about vanilla. It might add a nice flavor. You could put a little chunk in there if you wanted. And I also use ginger. So I grate down my ginger and I freeze it if I can't use it all at once. And sometimes there's those bits and pieces that you don't want to eat. So I take those, I throw them in here and boil it up with it. The last ingredient I don't add right away. So I take all that, I boil it up in here. I boil it for a good 40 minutes because I want to extract everything I can out of all my ingredients, right? And then they get softer and more comes out. And then I let it sit to cool. And I might let it sit to cool for quite a while again because it's still brewing. Once I'm done that, I filter it. You can get these at the dollar store if this is what you have available. It's not going to be as fine if you use this. But cheesecloth, and in a strainer, I put it over the big pot again, another pot, and I strain it through. And this takes a little bit. And then I squeeze it all up like you would for cheese and wring it out so I get all the goodness. And then, hopefully if you have spaghetti jars, I put them in the jars, and then these go in the fridges. And, you know, I take out a bit at a time. I fill up one of my cups about halfway with this. It's cold. I boil the water. And what else do I do? My last ingredient. I boil the water, right? So I fill it up half with the brew I made, which is cold. I boil hot water. I squeeze out either a half or a full lemon. Take the seeds out, put it in my coffee cup, and then I add it off with warm water. So I'm not having a super hot beverage. I'm having a fairly warm beverage, and I put the lemon in at the same time I drink it because I don't want to boil this down. I feel like it would lose its value if it was boiled down, nutritional. So I just wanted to share that. I hope that helps with anybody. I don't add sugar in it. You could, again, if you want to reduce inflammation, you want to stay away from the sugar as much as you can. But hopefully this helps somebody on their journey. Anybody that is struggling with some of the things that I have mentioned, I hope that it brings you a little bit of relief. This is a message. Share it with your family. Try it out.